Welcome back to the Primitive Camping and Bushcraft Podcast. My name is Chris Speir, and I'm going to be your guide to enjoying the great outdoors. So, in the last episode, we discussed tarps and using a tarp as a shelter. And a tarp is an amazing tool. And what we're going to do today is we're going to go over various configurations. If I can make it all the way through the show, I got a massive sore throat, not feeling too well, and I got some NyQuil on board right now. But we're going to try to set the stage for fundamental tarp setups. And, we're going to back up just a touch, and we're going to go over the prusik knot and the ridge line again. Now, in order to build a shelter with a tarp, you have to be able to make a ridge line from one tree to another. The two trees should be far enough apart that you can actually set the tarp up in between those trees comfortably or without wrinkle. And then the ridge lines, you're going to fix it on one end with have a overhand loop knot and bring that around the tree. Insert the other end of making a loop into that loop knot right there, and insert a toggle, and it's good. It's good to go. Now, bear with me. I have a headache, so if I leave out some terms, don't hold it against me this time. So you're going to run that string all the way across to the other side, and you're going to use a trucker's hitch to make that ridge line tight. And so you're going to tighten it down extremely tight, tie it off, and good to go. Now with the prusik knot, you're going to, these strings get different lengths, depending on what you need to do it for, or, use it for. You can make cut off 12 inches of string, tie it into a loop, and make two of them. And then you have yourself, start making yourself a prusik knot. And then you're going to put that string on the back side, and then you're going to loop it through over 3 times. And then the last time you're going to let go, and you're going to let that loop come around, and it's going to seal it off. You're going to have 3. It's going to look like a little fist sitting up there on the string, and that's what it's going to look like, with a little string dangling down right here in the middle. And that is going to allow your string to have a non-slip aspect to it. It's going to be tightened down with tension, and so it's not going to slip side to side or anything like that. But you can move it where you need it. But once you put pressure on it, it's not going to move. So those two are extremely important. Now you're going to get you a couple of toggles. Toggles is just a stick about 2 inches long, and so you get you a couple of little sticks that you could stick up through there. So getting along to our first shelter. Now the lean-to is going to be the simplest of tarp shelters. The lean-to is the one that I use when I go camping the most. It is the one that I use most often because it's simple to put up, it's real quick, it's easy, and it's effective. Most of us are not going to be going out into the woods camping just because it's raining and need elaborate shelters. Some do just for the awe factor on YouTube, and so they can get the views, but some do not. Most people want to go out and enjoy themselves and not be miserable the whole time, and I am one of those guys. Whenever I head out camping, tarp shelters are the way that I'm going to set up a shelter while I'm in the woods. I'm not bringing a tent with me. I might bring a hammock. 99% of the time, I'm going to bring a hammock. But anyway, I'm going to set a tarp shelter up, and the lean-to is the way I'm going to do it. So first, we already established our ridge line. So that ridge line is going to be here throughout the rest of this conversation. So we have that ridge line set up. So you're going to take the ends of your tarp, the front corners, the front left and right corners of your tarp, and you're going to fix one with a prusik knot onto that ridge line. And you're going to take that prusik knot, and that prusik loop, and you're going to feed it through the attachment point on your tarp. Insert a toggle. Now it's not going to go nowhere. Give it a little bit of tension, go to the other side, do the same thing, and then tighten it down, make it tight. And you have just made the front side of your shelter, your lean-to shelter. Now, the ridge line you're going to want it about chest height. That way it's not too high that wind's going to blow in on your stuff or rain's going to blow in on your stuff, stuff like that. Now go to the back side of your tarp and pull it tight and stake it down. Now use a stake that you either brought with you or you make when you're in the woods. Typically I'll make one when I'm in the woods. It's easy. Sticks are everywhere. So, and then go to the other side and tighten it down. Do the same thing, and voila, you have made yourself a lean-to shelter. All you have to do is clean out underneath it, set your gear up under there, set up your bedding, do whatever you're going to do, and you're good to go. Now, A-frames. A-frames are perfect for people that do hammocks. Hammocks, camping, and A-frame campings go hand in hand. A-frames offer more protection from the elements than a lean-to and is perfect for camping with windy and rainy conditions. Now, there's several variations of the A-frame. First, you want to lay the tarp lengthwise over the ridgeline. So, and you're going to be doing half of your tarp. So, you're going to lay it over lengthwise, and then you're going to make sure it is equal lengths to the ground. And if that's the case, then you're ready to go ahead and affix your plastic loops at the end of the tie outs there in the middle of the tarp. Tie it on both sides, put some tension on it. Now you go to each side and stake it out. So that's the corners. You're going to stake out each corner of that tarp, and that's it. You made an A-frame shelter. Now, if you do it higher than that with guy lines coming out and tied off, that's called a flying A-frame, or it's still an A-frame, but it's higher up, and it's where, especially if you're using a tarp, that's what typically you're going to do. So that's it. That is it for the A-frame. I mean, these tarp shelters are easy to do. If you've never done a tarp shelter before, it's no big deal because anybody can do it. And anybody, no matter your skill set, can do it. And then even advanced people use tarp setups in a basic way. That's the beautiful thing about survival bushcraft camping, primitive camping, all these aspects is they all fit hand in hand. There's not a wrong way to do it. And a lot of people will, that's not how you do it. It doesn't matter as long as the end result gets you what your desired outcome is. So, and now we're going to take the diamond fly. This is our third shelter. Now, with the A-frame on there, you disconnect everything. And you just take that tarp, you turn it lengthways. And so you're going to go corner to corner on this where it looks like a diamond fashion coming down in the front and back. Now, this is going to allow for you to have a little bit more coverage if you're camping with a hammock than a traditional A-frame. It'll allow you to have some coverage over the ends of your hammocks, and that way it doesn't get as wet. Now, so for this, you're going to lay the tarp corner to corner of the ridgeline. You're going to create a diamond shape, just like I said just a second ago. Do the same thing with the prusik loops. You're going to attach the prusiks on each end, tighten them off. Then you're going to take the corners, and there should be only one corner pointing towards the ground, pull it out, stake it off. Pull the other one out, stake it off. You're golden. You're good to go. So now, that is the diamond fly. So we've been through 3 configurations already. That's easy stuff. And, I give step-by-step details inside the book here. So if you're confused, you don't know what's really happened, I even show you how to set the prusik knots on here. So step-by-step details in here. And it's really good to go. Now, the A-frame, the diamond fly, now the Adirondack shelter. So the Adirondack shelter is traditionally a 3-sided log structure, but you can make one out of a tarp. It offers 3 sides of protection from the elements, making it perfect for cooler environments. Now, this one's going to be a little bit more difficult for me to really demonstrate over audio and try to visually make it to where you can see it, but we're going to try our best anyway. So what you're going to do is you're going to lay one corner of the tarp of the ridgeline and secure with the toggles. And by that, you're going to take one corner where it comes up into a pyramid corner, and you're going to flip it down flip it over there to the first set of attachment points on there. It's going to give you about 2-3 feet right there. Now, once you do that, you attach the diamond fly to it, and then you're going to have this little fly piece just flapping. I just flip it back over we'll use that later for something else. Now you come out and you stake down the back corners to form the walls. You stake down the very back corners, and then you bring the front corners up and you stake those down, and it's going to do an octagon looking shape. It's going to have flat in the back and then kind of an angle out, and then you're going to have this little flap that you flipped over that now you can flip over and tie it off and have more coverage and more rain protection in the front. So, now you can use one of the guy lines in the back, one of the attachment points in the back to pull it up. It adds a little bit more dimension, a little bit more depth into that, and allows you to a little bit more room. Now you're going to have the same amount of corner over the top. You're going to have that on the bottom, and so you could flip it in and have sort of a ground sheet that you could put your gear on. And so I'll read this. I'm going to read this step by step out of the book. That way there's no confusion. The Adirondack shelter is traditionally a 3-sided log structure, but you can make one using a tarp. It offers 3 sides of protection from the elements, making it perfect for colder environments. Now, step 1, lay one corner of the tarp over the ridgeline. Step 2, attach a toggle to your tarp by inserting the Prusik loop through the top tie-out point. As you pull on the toggle, the top will get tighter. Attach a toggle to the other side, and there is equal pressure. So you want to make sure there's equal pressure on both sides right there. Step 3, go around the back of the tarp and stake down the tie-out points that are directly opposite the toggles. Then tuck a far corner of the tarp underneath. This will give you a small ground sheet. That's what I was just demonstrating just a minute ago. Step 4, stake down the 2 front corner tie-out points, which will create side walls. Flip the leftover top piece back over the ridge line. So this is going to give your depth inside there. It's going to give you your sides, your left wall, your right wall, and your back wall. Step 5, attach the guy line to the middle of the back wall created by the tarp and tie this to another nearby tree. Doing so will create more room inside your shelter. Now, then, like I said, everything is step by step inside the book, Primitive Camping and Bushcraft there, and it's good stuff. I mean, this right here, if you got a windy, cold environment and you got a fire in front of it, the way the shelter it works, it will collect all the heat from that fire and reflect it to you or direct it to you and cause you to stay warmer. And if you was to set up an emergency blanket with a reflective backing on the backside, it will bounce it right back towards you, and you will stay nice and toasty. So the last one that we're going to go over, this will be the 5th one, is the Plow Point shelter. Now, most outdoorsmen and ladies have already used this kind of shelter. They know about it, and it's easy. It's one of the easier ones. It's one of the fastest and simplest shelters to make, and it's ideal for real quick, right now, got to have a shelter. And the Plow Point shelter. So you're going to take a corner, and like a pyramid, like the end of your tarp, and you're going to reach up on a tree, and you're going to tie that corner as high as you can reach on a tree. Then you're going to come out in about a 45-degree angle or so. Yeah, maybe a little bit less or a little bit more, whatever, depends on you. And you're going to attach the back opposite angle to the ground. Then you're going to come to the front. It's going to look like a 45-degree angle from the tree to the ground and then along the ground. So along the ground, then you staple the front. You pull those out till it's nice and tight. You stake those down on both sides. So that is how you make the Plow Point shelter. You're starting to see that everything with the shelter is pretty easy. It does not have to be elaborate log cabins and stuff once you get into the woods. So that was that. Now, so we covered the tarp shelters configurations, and this is going to conclude our discussion on tarp shelters. And so next episode, we're going to start moving into the water section, the water chapter. And we're going to dive into the critical topics of water, covering water collection, filtration, purification techniques, and camping and survival needs, that, all the stuff that you need for survival. So, but there's another aspect of shelter that I didn't cover here that I did a real quick YouTube video on that you might want to go check out. Is like making shelter out of natural material. Essentially, you're making an A-frame shelter, and you're going to use sticks, and you go check that video out. Give me a comment. Let me know what you think. I know this was kind of short. This was on the 16 minutes, 15 minutes, something like that right now. But like I said, I have a massive sore throat. I have a pounding headache, and I have a ton of NyQuil on board. But I really do appreciate everybody's help, and I thank you so much. And I'll see you in the next one when we start going over water. God bless you. I'll see you next time.